What if I told you that one football club is about to spend £1.5 billion on a stadium that could destroy a 150-year-old Victorian park and has already triggered 28,000 people to sign a petition against it? This is the story of Newcastle United's most controversial decision ever, one that could either transform them into England's biggest football powerhouse or create the most explosive planning battle in British sports history. Newcastle wants to build a 65,000 capacity stadium on Leazes Park, a Grade 2 listed Victorian park with over 1,000 trees. Environmental groups are furious, with 28,000 people signing a petition against it. This isn't their first attempt either. They tried this exact plan 20 years ago and failed spectacularly. But now they have backing from one of the world's richest funds with $925 billion in assets. The club's already made a secret promotional video showing a futuristic design that could change English football forever. Here's why the Saudi owners are risking everything on this audacious move: the stunning architectural plans that could revolutionize English football, and the fierce public backlash that's already splitting Newcastle down the middle. This decision will determine the club's fate for the next century, and the battle lines are already drawn. To understand this massive gamble, let's start with St. James's Park itself. This iconic stadium has been Newcastle's home since 1892. That's over 130 years of football history. But the venue that once seemed perfect is now the club's biggest problem. The current 52,350 capacity ground is completely trapped in the heart of Newcastle. It's surrounded by Grade 1 listed buildings, like the historic Leazes Terrace, that simply cannot be touched or demolished. These Victorian buildings create an invisible prison around the stadium, making any meaningful expansion nearly impossible. Things got dramatically worse under previous owner Mike Ashley. In one of his most damaging decisions, Ashley sold critical land behind the east stand that the club desperately needed for future expansion. This move effectively landlocked the stadium even further, creating a revenue crisis that's still haunting Newcastle today. The numbers tell the devastating story. Newcastle's matchday revenue of just £37.9 million is embarrassingly low compared to their rivals. Manchester United generates £136 million from match days. That's more than 3 times what Newcastle makes. Arsenal, Tottenham, and even clubs like West Ham are leaving Newcastle in the dust financially. But here's what makes this even more frustrating. The demand is absolutely there. Over 20,000 fans are currently on the season ticket waiting list. That's enough people to fill nearly half of another stadium. These fans are desperate to support their team, but simply can't get tickets because the ground is too small. When the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund took over in October 2021 for £305 million, they inherited this mess. But they also brought something Newcastle had never had before: unlimited financial resources and global ambition. Here's where the Premier League's financial fair play rules become crucial. Unlike player transfers, stadium construction doesn't count against spending limits. This means the Saudis can pour unlimited money into infrastructure, while other clubs are restricted in their player investments. It's a massive competitive advantage if they can exploit it. The club has explored every possible solution for St. James's Park. Architects have proposed floating stands that would hover over existing structures, dealing with the notorious sinking pitch issues that have plagued the ground for years, and even building platforms over nearby roads. But every single proposal hits the same brick wall. There's simply no room to grow significantly. This stadium project isn't just about Newcastle United either. It's actually part of Saudi Arabia's massive Vision 2030 plan, a strategy to diversify their economy away from oil by investing in sports, entertainment, and tourism. For Saudi leadership, the stadium isn't just about football. It's about showcasing their ability to build world-class infrastructure and compete on the global stage. That's what led them to the controversial solution that's dividing Newcastle today: Leazes Park. This historic green space, located just a stone's throw from St. James Park, offers something the current site never could: room to build something truly spectacular. But as we'll discover, choosing this location has opened up a whole new set of problems that could derail the entire project. Now let's dive into what this new stadium could actually look like, and the features are absolutely mind-blowing. Newcastle has hired KSS, a prestigious London-based firm that created Qatar's stunning Ahmed bin Ali Stadium for the 2022 World Cup and designed Wimbledon's famous #1 court. These architects know how to create something truly special. The size is staggering, a 65,000 to 70,000 capacity stadium that would become the second biggest club stadium in England, behind only Manchester United's Old Trafford. Here's where it gets exciting. They're planning a massive single stand inspired by Borussia Dortmund's legendary Yellow Wall. Dortmund's Yellow Wall holds 25,000 fans and creates an atmosphere so intense it literally shakes the stadium. Picture that same concept filled with 25,000 screaming Newcastle supporters. Absolutely electric. The exterior will be revolutionary too. They're planning a bubble wrap style outer shell, similar to Bayern Munich's Allianz Arena. This advanced cladding system can change colors and light up the entire stadium like a massive beacon. During night games, it would glow and pulse with Newcastle's black and white colors. This isn't just a football stadium, it's designed as a multi-purpose entertainment complex. Think massive concerts, international rugby, boxing events, even potential NFL games. Artists like Taylor Swift or Coldplay performing to 70,000 people in Newcastle's heart. The business strategy is smart too. Dramatically expanded corporate hospitality with premium suites and luxury facilities could double their matchday income from £38 million to £76 million per season. That's an extra £38 million annually for building a better team. Technology will be cutting edge, advanced LED lighting, sound systems designed to amplify crowd noise, and digital displays throughout. The roof is engineered to trap and amplify fan noise, making it one of the loudest venues in world football. The location choice is brilliant. Building entirely within Leazes Park means Newcastle can keep playing at St. James Park throughout the 7-year construction. No lost revenue, no temporary moves, no disruption to European commitments, or 2028 Euros hosting. The design even honors Newcastle's heritage, subtly referencing the iconic Tyne Bridge with curved elements. It's not just a stadium, it's a new architectural landmark that will define Newcastle's skyline for generations. But here's where this dream project crashes into reality, creating what might be the biggest planning battle in British football history. Let's rewind to the early 2000s first. Newcastle actually tried this exact same plan before, wanting to build a 55,000 capacity stadium in the same Leazes Park location. The plans were detailed, architects were hired, and the club was confident it would happen. But fierce local opposition and legal action from the Freemen of Newcastle, who hold historic land rights, shut it down completely. It was a major setback the club took years to recover from. Now, 20 years later, they're back with an even more ambitious plan. But the opposition is stronger, more organized, and absolutely furious about this second attempt. The battleground is Leazes Park itself. This isn't just any green space. It's a Grade 2 listed Victorian park that opened in 1873, making it older than professional football itself. When created, it was designed as the first purpose-built public park in Newcastle, where working-class families could escape the industrial city. The legal maze facing this project is staggering. Getting planning permission means navigating Newcastle City Council first, then likely facing a public inquiry overseen by the Secretary of State for Housing. We're talking about 3 to 4 years of planning battles alone, involving environmental impact assessments, heritage consultations, and inevitable judicial reviews. But here's what should really worry Newcastle fans: the very real possibility that the Saudi owners might just walk away. The Public Investment Fund has shown hesitation about committing this much money to such a controversial project. If these legal battles drag on for years, the Saudis might simply redirect their investment elsewhere. This creates a terrifying risk for Newcastle. If PIF pulls back, the club could be stuck with current stadium limitations forever. While other clubs expand and increase revenues, Newcastle would be trapped watching from the sidelines. The construction timeline reveals the project's true scale. Even with planning approval by 2026, the new stadium wouldn't open until 2032 at the earliest. The advantage? Building entirely in Leazes Park means Newcastle can keep playing at St. James Park throughout construction, avoiding the revenue loss other clubs face during rebuilds. However, the 2028 European Championships add another layer of complexity. Newcastle is scheduled to host matches, but UEFA needs stadium confirmation by 2026. Any delays beyond that point could see Newcastle lose hosting rights entirely. The opposition has compelling legal arguments too. Environmental lawyers argue that destroying part of a Grade 2 listed park sets a dangerous precedent threatening green spaces across the country. If Newcastle can build on Leazes Park, what stops other developers targeting historic parks elsewhere? The clock is ticking louder every day, and pressure on both sides is becoming unbearable. Now let's talk about the money behind this project, because the financial numbers involved are absolutely mind-boggling. We're looking at a baseline cost of £1.5 billion, but industry experts believe the final price tag could easily reach £2.5 to £3 billion once you factor in land acquisition, legal battles, and construction inflation. That's more money than entire countries spend on their annual infrastructure budgets. But here's the fascinating part about who's paying for this. The Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund currently manages assets worth $925 billion, nearly $1 trillion. Even a £3 billion stadium represents less than 0.3% of their total wealth. For the Saudi fund, this investment is like an average person buying a cup of coffee. The funding structure gives Newcastle a massive competitive advantage. Stadium construction is classified as infrastructure investment, completely exempt from financial fair play regulations. While other clubs are restricted in player spending due to FFP rules, Newcastle's owners can pump unlimited billions into this stadium project without any penalties. The Saudis have demonstrated their commitment by increasing their ownership stake from 80% to 85% recently. But this raises an interesting question. Will this become a Saudi-branded venue? Don't be surprised if we see naming rights like PIF Arena or Vision 2030 Stadium. Given Saudi Arabia's strategy of using sports for global image building, stadium naming rights would promote Saudi brands worldwide. The revenue projections are staggering. The new stadium could more than double Newcastle's matchday income from £38 million to potentially £80 to £90 million per season. But with concerts, rugby matches, boxing events, and other entertainment, the stadium could generate income 200+ days per year instead of just match days. This project extends beyond Newcastle though. It's a central pillar of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 strategy to diversify their economy and establish themselves as a global leader in sports and entertainment. So there you have it, Newcastle's £1.5 billion gamble that could reshape English football. This isn't just about a stadium, it's a message from one of the world's richest owners. They're all in. The planning fight will be brutal, but if it succeeds, Newcastle could have one of the world's most iconic stadiums. If it fails, they risk falling behind as rivals surge ahead. The next few months are crucial. Whether you back the vision or stand with Leazes Park, this project will shape Newcastle's future for generations. The stakes are enormous, and the football world is watching. Will the Saudis pull off the most controversial stadium project in history? What do you think? Should Newcastle risk it all or choose another path? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting stories about football stadiums worldwide. Thanks for watching.